Blake with the Three Hand Hunter channel. Thanks for listening in today. Now, I didn't plan on making this video. This is a comparison between the SKX K and J version. Even though this is an SKX 009, this is an SKX 007. But since I have them both, I figured why not make this video so I can show you the differences between the two. I have to say there are other YouTubers that have made this particular video, the differences between the K and J, but I also wanted to show you some specifics between the two, and I'll tell you the reasons why I actually got both of these. Anyway, I didn't expect to actually have them both in hand at the same time, and now that I do, I figured I would make this for you. And let me just say this before I get started, and I'm going to tell you a quick story about the reason why I've got these two. If you like this type of content, please subscribe to the channel. And then like the video if you like the content. I try to make videos that are a little bit different than other YouTubers, you know, just watch reviews. And I actually hunt around for a lot of these watches. I actually hunted around for both of these. And so now that I have them both in hand, let me tell you the reason why I've got them. But I wanted to get it in my nephew's birth year, which was 2018. This is a 2018 watch with tags, full kit, that type of thing. I wanted to get a J version, the same, the SKX 007J for myself, and this just happens to be his birth year watch as well. So what's interesting about both of these are both full kits. Now, the 9, what you'll see, it has an Uncle Seiko President's bracelet on it, which I'm going to do an Uncle Seiko showcase, not in this video, but I will on soon, because I've got so many Uncle Seiko bands. But these are both full kits, same year, different factories. And a lot of people are probably wondering, well, why would you know, what's the difference between the K and the J version? Like I said, there's been videos, or I don't know if I said this, but there's been videos that have been created about the K and J versions. I'm not going to be the first person to do this. There are plenty of YouTubers that have done it, but I wanted to show you just some of the differences, and stick around at the very end. I'm going to show you some macro shots of both of these and side by side, so you can really take a good look at them. I'm going to take a look at them outside in sunlight so you can see just the subtle differences between the two. But I wanted to show both of them to you and kind of give you a breakdown of what makes these two different. You know, with the SKXs, especially now that Seiko's released the Seiko 5 line, these are discontinued. And so many of these have been modded and mutilated over the years. It's really hard to find, and it's getting more difficult to find, ones that are not modded and that have never been touched. And when you have your hands on some of these, it's nice because they are becoming more rare as time goes on. So I wanted to show you again the differences between the two. So let's just talk about the K version, which is not made in Japan, and then the J version, which is made in Japan. So first of all, on the dial, you'll see the 21 jewels and then made in Japan on the J version. On the K version, it doesn't have that. So whether it's made in Singapore or in Malaysia or wherever the other factories, Seiko factories are, this one was made in one of the Japanese factories. So the K version and J version, they are basically identical except where they were created. But there are, like I said, subtle differences. On the back, on the case back, on the J version, you're gonna see right here next to the serial number, it'll say, it says WR and then Japan right here on the case back. Again, I'm gonna be showing you some macro shots of the two. And then on the K version, it has that WR, or WP, I'm sorry, WP, but there is no Japan next to it. So that is one of the subtle differences about the case backs. Also, one of the things that you should realize is that in the J version, from what I understand, and this one was as well, in the J version, they do not come on bracelets. Only the K versions came on bracelets. So the J version that you see here would have come with a rubber strap, which this one did, the quintessential Seiko hard rubber strap. So this is the original strap that came on the J version, right? and then you'd have to go order a separate bracelet, this separate bracelet here to go get, to make this a K, what they call it, the K2. So if you see this one is a K2, meaning it came with a bracelet. If it was K1, that means it would have come with a rubber strap. So, and from what I've understood from Mark over at Long Island Watch, he did this video years ago. He said he's only seen J1s in 007s and 009s. So none of them came on Jubilee. So you'd have to buy the Jubilee separate, or you get a Jubilee from Uncle Seiko, which is an amazing Jubilee, which I'll get into in another video, not right at this moment in time. So what's interesting about both of these watches, and the reason why I wanted to show you side by side, is that they are both made in 2018. They're 2018 watches that were full kits that actually were both made in the month of May, because the serial number on the back says, let me clean this up for you guys really quick, just excuse me, because all the smudges with the polished case. So if you notice on the case back, it'll say 8, which means that's the 2018, all right? 5, which is the month. January would be 1. So this is a May 2018 watch. And the serial number is 4575, which means that is the 4,000, is that a 6? I'm sorry, it's 4675. So it's 4,675th watch off the production line in that particular factory. Where this watch, the J version, very similar here. Let me see, there it is. This one is also made in 2018. It was also May, and it was 4,257th off of the factory line. So you have one that was, literally same year, same month, and tells you the number that it came off of the production line, which is pretty cool. These are basically probably had about the same amount of wear. I did not buy them used, or buy them new. I bought them both pre-owned. So I just wanted to show you just some of the differences. And to be honest, one of the other things is and I will not be doing this for you because I don't want to mess up the water resistance whatsoever. In the rotor, in the J version, it will say Japan on the rotor. The K version will not. So if you open up the case back, you'll see that the K version does not have Japan on the rotor. And it's big, it's underneath the screw down part of the rotor, but on the J version, it does say Japan. But like I said, I'm not gonna pull off the case backs to show you guys that, because I just don't wanna compromise the water resistance. These are, if use the term unmolested versions of, these watches that are, in very pristine condition. And I want to keep them that way. And I'll tell you, it's very tempting to mod these, and that the modding community for the SKXs are so huge, and there's so many spin-off companies like Yaboki's and Namoki, and that have, and others obviously, and LCBI, that their business model is basically modding the SKXs, and so to find them in pristine and unmolested condition is getting rather difficult, these days. Some people will note that the colors might be a little different between, a SKX 009 from, K versus J, but I think it depends. One of the other things I do want to point out actually with these two, and this might be specific to these particular ones, it does seem like the J versions, the case, the chamfering that you'll see around the sides, and I'll show you in the macro, will be better in the Japanese versions. And every Japanese version I've held versus a K version that's not made in Japan, I felt the same. One of my local enthusiast friends, Andrew, he collects SKXs and he collects turtles, and he has J versions versus K versions as well. And you can see the slight difference. It's not big enough to where you would actually know unless you had two of them sitting right next to each other. But they're basically the same. Now, one of the things I do want to say is that with this J version, the bezel is extremely tight, which isn't always the case. This is a very, very tight bezel, which I love actually. This one, the K version, is easier to manipulate than this J version. And I think it's more due to the examples, the personal examples that you're seeing in front of you versus more common amongst K versus J. I just think it's these two specific examples that we have here. So anyway, I'm going to show you some macro shots, and I'm going to show you some shots outside of the outside in sunlight, so you can see really some of the differences between the two. But I want to thank you all for spending your time with me, and if you've made it this far, then let me introduce myself. My name is Blake. I'm a bit of a watchaholic, as you can tell, and if you are watching this right now, my assumption is you are one too. So anyway, on my wrist, just so you guys know, this is talking about a rare watch. This is the Seiko Spork. I've done a review on it, and it's what happens when watches like these, they go out of production and then they become highly sought after. The J versions tend to command just a little bit more than the K version. Depends what you're looking for out of the Seikos. I do think it's a great watch, and I'm excited that I have it in my collection, and it will always stay in my collection. So anyway, off to the macro shots. Thank you all for joining me today. I'll catch you in the next video.